Update 10 is live. Peak player count broken without a free player weekend. And everybody's coming back to see their initial thoughts on Update 10. Digi and I are going to give ours. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about a special project with Mosca coming back. New player guide, some behind the scenes, a little bit of conversation about their news, competitive scene, update, all this and more on episode 16 of Hell, Let's Talk. And welcome to Update 10, episode 16 of Hell Let's Talk, and welcome back to Digishadow, who we haven't seen in a little while.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I'm glad to be back. I just had a couple fires to put out on my own. Now we're. Honestly, I've been missing being on the show. I watched last week's, and I thought you guys did just a fantastic job. Johnny Gunner, as always, just a great spirit and personality.
Yeah,
definitely.
Double coming on to talk about, the Kickstarter. But, it's funny you say put down fires, because most people, when they say put out fires, it's a metaphor. It's something, like I got a lot of stuff going on. Like you literally went out and helped support the effort of putting out fires there in Western Canada.
Just logistical. Hey, where's the machines got to go? You need food? All right, we're good. Porta potty's going.
I know we had a lot of respect for you on that one. I'm going to go ahead and I got a Yingling tonight. Just a beer. We're not going whiskey. Actually had all the whiskey last night for a competitive match. So I'm going to go ahead and raise my Yingling to you there, buddy, and all the other guys out there fighting fires. Cheers.
It's a hot one out there. Thank you, Inchon.
Indeed.
I spiked coffee here.
Did you go spike coffee? I didn't ask if you went spike coffee.
They'll never know.
So Digi, let's go ahead and just get in the show,
Just so excited to get back into it. And like I said, before we jump into Update 10, which is on everybody's mind, our motif, swimming in resources. You got the gold bullion behind me and Scrooge McDuck behind Inchon there. We got a really good show coming around. That's going to cover into our first week of Update 10. Before we get into that, I think it's really important we get into this special news segment and welcome our good buddy from Spain, Mosca.
Mosca, welcome back to the show.
Welcome back.
Hello.
So we've got a really good one from these two gentlemen and a whole wide cast of supporting crew that made this possible. But on July 29th, the new player guide was released, and it is just fantastic. It is concise, to the point, well balanced, funny, a lot of little inside jokes here and there. And again, I think it just knocked it out of the park. Mosca, main illustrator, and Inchon kind of getting everybody organized into sections. I think it all came together beautifully. What are you guys feeling now that it's done and out there for the public?
I would say done. I feel relieved at a certain point. It's never done. Yeah, but we've already got we're already talking about other things we're going to do with it. Mosca, I know the feedback. We're reading every single comment, and the feedback has really been a great reward unto itself, just to see how well it's been received. So let's before we just didn't want to present it up on the show here and say here's the guide and go over it. We kind of wanted to. We got Mosca live. We wanted to go a little bit behind the scenes,
in the flesh.
And
we'll see a little bit of his creative processing. I mean, as always, exactly. I think everybody's interested in how we got to where we got to.
Pull the curtain back, if you will. Yeah.
Yes.
So before this actually happened, and I think this is something to really highlight. Black Matter approached us saying, we would like you guys to tackle this project. Are you guys willing to do it? And we're like, hell yeah. So immediately,
it was a hell yeah.
It was a hell
Remember
yeah.
that conversation. Yeah. What? Yes.
Yes. Because we saw the need for this, and not just something about walk forward by W, left click with your mouse button, but something that actually taught people how to play the game, not necessarily, from the game mechanic standpoint. So immediately, I reached out to Zane Ganger, a friend of the show. We've had a lot of he's been on the show. We've had a couple of his guides on the show. Mosca, obviously, we knew this was going to be a written format. And I will never do anything written or illustrative again without Mosca, as long as they'll have me. After working with them, it's been a pleasure.
Thank
But
you.
we definitely wanted something engaging and put it out there. So we formed the team together, and immediately, Mosca, I know you just jumped into it, and you had a vision that we were able to mesh really well. What was kind of a little bit of your vision on this guide?
I know I wanted a guide like the infantry foot, the infantry manuals and the manuals for foot soldiers of the Second World War.
Combat books.
Yep. The manuals are done for soldiers, for veteran soldiers, new soldiers. They have to be visual, quick, only information, no theories, no
one's ever said you're a scholar, you should join the military. you gotta
this is life or death kind of stuff. We need it quick and dirty, and you know, it's that balance piece that you can really see on this graphic you've got up there. Like, I mean, I think point for point, you really see the inspiration being pulled into it. What is this guide from? Could you tell us on the left?
That is this one is the Panther Feeble. It's the guide for Panther crew in the World War II. That was translated to Russian too. There is a Russian version.
Yep, and I think a lot of that kind of just set out there like, hey, let's make this to a player guide. There was one example right here. Here's another example looking at the armor section for that Panther and how we kind of translated it over. You know, and Mosca, I know we talked about it. We didn't want this to be a wall of text. We didn't want to do just like, we wanted to try to make it as authentic to that World War II manual. And you even did a little bit of post-processing to make the pages kind of stand out. What was some of those effects that you did?
Usually the chip printing, like in a Word, and the printing plates are not well aligned. Some colors go out of the line. So all the guys have that effects, blood, dirty, because it's like a manual that has been in the battlefield.
Yeah, it's weathered a bit. I like that. I think that's a great effect. It's seen some action in the back pocket of somebody.
Yeah,
and
I really think one of the best examples here. I'll brag on Mosca, so that you can actually see a little bit of the back scene process. You notice there are screenshots in game, but we didn't use any screenshots in the manual to try to keep you in that World War II mindset. Exactly. But we had to obviously pull so it would be relatable exactly to there. So this is just a brief glimpse of the work in progress on Mosca's desktop. If you haven't, I go back. One of the favorite things we have ever done on this show was a bonus content of watching Mosca do this live and seeing the way he did it. There was times when we were working together where I just watched Mosca and was just like watching Bob Ross paint. It was great. But I want to point to this one because I think this is like, first off, a great visual representation of something that's very complex in the game. Of not everybody can see all the nodes, or sorry, all the map commands. Only your squad can see some, only the leaders can see some, somebody can see all of them. So you get a great representation about all this information in a snapshot that's aligned to the command wheel. It's got the after effects that Mosca talked about with that kind of like faded printing, not pristine. Like we could have made it a bright red, but it really stays within that theme. And then just in the bottom right, my favorite new cartoon you drew for this one. I was so trying to get Mosca to put captions in this one, but he said nope, it's got to be this, and it was the right call.
It's clean.
But
it's right here. The tank is here.
Yeah, I wanted the caption. Take up my position. Exactly.
It's a classic.
Oh, the amount of times that actually comes up. Where is he? He's on me.
He's like freaking right next to me. I think this was great. And now Mosca, you said you got support like these icons and everything. Danny Art helped you out with this, with what, the graphics, the font, what else? You know, talk about Danny's contribution to this one.
I love Danny because it's not only he gave me the icons. He gave me the icons in 5 minutes. Danny, I need the munition icon. they send me all the files. It has been fantastic. I have asking him for the official in-game fonts. The lettering is the same in that in-game letters. I am very happy. It has been very easy to work with him.
And I've already started pointing.
The collaboration piece is just so important. I think there is a real good connection for these types of projects. And it shows. I mean, the quality of it definitely. The dev support it was tremendous. Just getting this out. Correct.
And I'm going to put it out here. Actually, if you look on the right hand side, just those icons. I've already pointed to people to this saying like, I don't know what all the icons mean in the bottom left of who's my support player, who's not. It's all in the guide for you, highlighting a work in progress here. Probably one of the another great cartoon from you that you made for this one. The bag of tricks. Like, I think you called it the Mary Poppins AT player, correct? Is that when we were talking to this one? So I loved it on that one. And then so here's some of the after effects. I will say this was. It was a group effort. I put mangled bodies in front of you. Be alert. The review team was like, no, it's Inchon, you can't put mangled bodies in the text. So it was fallen comrades. I remember. But I love the little bit of blood splatter. It gives the little characteristics. Obviously, the art with the helmet in there for life expectancy 0. You will die in this game. You will die often. Nice little touch there. And then I think to end it here, what just adds that extra little depth was your pencil markings, and this was 100% Mosca on that too.
Yeah.
Defending.
So subtle humor. I mean, it's just so pointed. I love it. Like that's awesome.
Well, and even I didn't take a screenshot of it on this one, but just the little pencil doodle. I forget what page is it on, Mosca. The little devil pitchfork.
I remember.
I think it's like on this first. It's in the first half, but just like a little doodle on the bottom right to make it actually feel like it's been used, it's been weathered, it's engaging. It's without being distracting.
All the coffee stains and then some blood marks on it. Like, yeah, you went all out on the layers, my friend. That is just awesome.
Artillery's got a little bit of singe. The tank's got a little bit of oil on it. Yeah, it's
you got Slim X in the chat. If games still did box DVD releases, I'd expect this to be the mini booklet that would come with it. That I think is just so true. I could definitely see this coming in my Call of Duty 2, box clamshell, like, whoa, look at this book. That is just, that's so on point.
Well, and Mosca, you what I was gonna say, I hate to feel like I'm aging myself here, but I remember playing video games, and you get the game, you get it home, you put it in your CD-ROM, if your computer have, no computers have CD-ROM, and then while the game was loading, because you weren't on a solid state drive or whatnot, you'd read the manual, and you get excited.
The manual. Where are the manuals? I love the manuals.
Yeah,
and the anti-copy in the right, the third letter in the fourth paragraph of page 10.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and you had something tangible to read because your game took 20 minutes to load. It got you in there. This is kind of set up in that same style. I
think we're dating ourselves a little bit, gentlemen.
Yeah,
but who watches this show? Let's be honest.
Okay, so I remember when Steam came out, and there was such a backlash about they're just gonna. What happens if you get a new computer? All your games are gonna be gone
for my money.
Yeah, now can you imagine like some game you could only get with a CD-ROM to play? People just freak
crazy.
out. So let's go ahead, Mosca. This has been awesome. The feedback's been great. Before we kind of talk about how we're gonna close this out, any final comments on the guide from the behind the scenes perspective?
I don't know. I want this to grow up, because this is a new player guide, and there is going to be new updates, change to the meta. I miss veteran tips, something like that.
Yep, we can definitely do more with it. And talking about doing more is if you want to translate this into a native language of yours, reach out to me. We've already got a couple people, Korean, Mandarin, Polish. I think we got a German lined up. But if you, Mosca, you're gonna get someone. We gotta get Spanish on there. Español.
Español.
Exactly. if you want to do that,
reach out,
to
please
us.
do. It'll be huge. It'll be the only thing that could happen is the game gets better. You got more people building garrisons.
Exactly. Whatever we can do to get 2 more garrisons a game, let's do it.
Exactly.
Also, if you want to do video production with this, maybe break this into little smaller bite-sized videos, definitely reach out to us. Also, thank you, Mosca, for being with us on this journey, really being our Yoda to guiding us through and providing this. Also want to thank, let me see if I can get everybody, Dash 30, who's a writer on the show, Double Douche, guest on the show, Oddball, Zhang Ganger, Nuclear,
and General T.
General T, all right there. Great guys. Thank you, everybody. And I hope this has been a good sneak peek behind the scenes for you guys to appreciate the guide. Thank you.
How can people reach out to us, Inchon?
YouTube comments, obviously, on this one, or jump into our Discord, discord.gg/Esprit. We'll be able to get you on that one, and we actually have a whole separate Discord set up just for this. We'll bring you into that one, and we'll talk about it on there. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mosca.
Thank you.
Always a good time with you, my friend. Now we get into update 10 and the package to unload. Okay, well, let's just start with the kind of outer skirting stuff, you know, the cosmetics of things. We've got a couple DLCs that came with update 10, namely the Silver Vanguard. And with that, you got German forces getting those rolled sleeve uniforms.
Is anybody going to use
11
those?
classes.
No one's going to use that, right?
It looks cool, all right.
Your arms are like beacons.
But it's the base model, so I'm not using them
white
per
helmet.
se. But
white helmet and arms.
I know, if you got like a light skin tone, it's kind of a. I was using the Ushirka hat with the flaps down because it actually hides more of the face. I figured that was a little bit more camouflage. Yeah, so you got the German forces with the rolled sleeves, U.S. forces Hell on Wheels jacket, which is real cool for the tank commanders to flash off for the first 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, it's cool, but you're in a tank. No one sees it outside the opening minute. Like,
it's like the P-spot camo for the German tankers that have earned it, right? You know, I had a guy come up to me, hey, check this out. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. And I turned around, went back into his tank one game. I was like, I guess he wasn't getting the validation, you know.
So I give it crap. I give it crap, but you're damn right. I have it on my tanker. So
yeah, exactly. You may as well, right? Nobody's gonna see it, but you know it. And then the Soviet forces with this Silver Vanguard got the SSH 40 covered amoeba helmet. So like your standard helmet with a little bit of camo on it. And I'm not sure if they came with the netting. I haven't put it on there, but do you know? This is in bold. You must claim this if you want it by August 10th. If you've been playing the game, it should automatically jump in. It did for me, but there is some follow-up link we can put in, and I'll put it into the stream chat now. If you need to grab it, definitely get on it. Don't lose it like the winter DLC package that now everybody wants the white helmets, right?
It's just you're just asking for it.
But exactly. And on top of that, we've got 2 other little sneak previews that they put in and locked it out to gray. There's a few more DLCs, the Rear Echelon DLC and the Lethal Tides Navy Loadout DLC, which look pretty interesting. I was liking me some naval caps there and the dark blue skivvies.
So the Rear Echelon is just for the Kickstarter guys. So that you'll see some people with that. I don't think that'll be coming out, but they teased one while releasing the Silver Vanguard for the Kickstarter. They actually got, this is the first time, a paid DLC that we've seen, the Lethal Tide DLC. $4.99. I mean, Digi, kind of where you stand. Everything up to Hell Let Loose at this point has been a base game. Now
game.
Yeah. Now the game is increased in price.
Exactly. It's increased in price. It's gone into official release. Yep. Where do we stand? Are we still seeing game being improved, right? There's been a firm commitments from the developer team that they were going to continue work on this game. Maybe we get all the way out to the Pacific Front. Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. I was very excited when I saw that new roadmap and see British forces, my Canadian forces becoming.
Did you see the shotgun? Did you see the shotgun?
And I saw the shotgun. I was going to make a meme of that later. Of just that is the only thing I was looking forward to in the upcoming
shut up about your flamethrower. Digi's got the shotgun.
Got my shotgun. Yeah, well, I know Johnny Gunner and his rifle grenade. He talked my ear off about how the shotguns make no damn sense, but all the same, yeah, I think from a pure cosmetic value, what they're putting in here, $4.99, It's money got to go into the development team that's gotten bigger since the game initially was being developed and launched. I'm for cosmetics, but stay away from the loadouts. As long as that is not altered, there's no bumps to weapons or bonuses to speed or any of that nonsense. It's still a base game, and I don't give a shit if you've got a different helmet of historical relevance too. I wouldn't go into the weird realm of, like, you know, the Hello Kitty backpacks on, you know, soldiers. I still think I like the approach they're doing. They're getting historical models and putting those into the game. I wouldn't be opposed to paying the $5 just if I know this is going towards the game. If they
start partnering with Marvel and we get Captain America like cosmetics, yeah. I'm out. So I mean, a bold question for you, Digi: is this a cash grab, or is this just modern gaming and this is a legitimate income stream for it?
Show me some games that don't at this level of production. I think a lot of games in this kind of realm, that is becoming the norm. And it's, yeah, again, it's that, or you have to buy a full DLC for a new segment of the game, right? New maps, unlocks. Keep it in the realm and keep it in the realm of, you know, cosmetics. I don't think anybody's gonna bat an eye. I think that's still a bit of a cushion to give to the dev team, a little bit more money to keep funding the development of the game. So I have no knocks as long as it stays in this world. Don't Pandora box it, you know.
Yeah, no, I'm there with you. If it's cosmetics, as soon to me, it's a hard line crossing over where you get to any content based game, especially something that would give you an advantage if it gets to a pay to win. Please do not get to that point. I don't know if I see this as a slippery slope. I see this as a business decision. I'm okay with it, but I'm also a little bit sensitive to if it moves forward.
I think it should be well noted. Everybody would be sensitive to see that it stays at that level, and I mean, it's another step towards, but it's not a step off the ledge. So, and
at the end of the day, they gotta get some money, get some cash flow, pay the bills to keep.
It's a business, man.
Exactly. So
my money.
What is a business to a lot of communities around here is actually the competitive scene. So let's do a quick little competitive scene roll up, and you know, this is
snapshot.
I need a bumper. We need to get a bumper like HLT.
Hey, hit us up if you've got any editing skills at all. Definitely give us a shout as well. We always love the editors to come in.
If you got a good HL competitive like 2-second bumper, just bring it in here. But anyway, Summer Cup, we talked about it live. They went through the Swiss system for 10 teams. You can actually see here the results after that. Now we're going to be getting knockout. PPKA War and 82nd AD got knocked out of the Summer Cup. Real hard tournament for 82nd. All this points on the right, that's points that out of 5-0 for 4 matches. 82nd AD was not able to hold on to any points through 4 matches during this tournament. And I know they are a perennial pillar of the community. I'm excited to see what Gem comes out of this. I know he's going to be more focused. And definitely not happy with these results. But talking about that, let's go ahead and look at the flip side. Pi in 104th, 4 games, 18 out of 20 strong points. That is impressive, especially when you look at that middle. Yeah, especially when you look at that middle grouping. A 3-way tie for 4th place. This is going to be a good tournament that we're going to keep an eye on. Here's how the brackets are laying up with the seeding. Obviously, higher seeds going against lower seeds. That's going to be coming up there. We'll be keeping an eye on that. There's also the next upcoming event immediately around the corner, Digi, is the 18v18.
18v18, the David Farrell Memorial Tournament is coming in. The teams have been locked in, and the brackets are actually being made during this broadcast. As noting, there's a stream. Venus is streaming out the flipping through for the bracket development as we speak, and a lot of new communities are getting involved into that, and it's really exciting formatting. The 18v18, strictly gunplay, baby. It's all guns blazing, squad tactics at its core. A lot of fun tournament. A lot of fun to be had in that tournament for sure.
Yeah, but I know they're going to be broadcasting that. It's a unique format. Definitely looking forward to seeing that. Also, you have the HL Premier League being hosted by BR1. Registrations are open for that one right now. 18v18 is closed. Registrations open for the Premier League. Doing an American and European division, and then the top ones are going to face off each other. You see a list there. A lot of guys that we see in the Summer Cup, some familiar names, some new names. 143rd Texas making their presence on the known there. I see actually Mosca, the Bastardos are coming back
the Bastardos
coming back for more and be improved. But that one's going to be coming in September. So definitely check that out on BR1. And then last but not least, the Community Bastion.
From the old start, we've got the Community Bastion Heidegger announcing the fall seasonal is coming back in October. And that has always been a pleasure and a delight because it is no rules, no holds bar, 50v50, pure and simple. And yeah, well, please bring in, I think, Heidegger back to discuss that one. That's once that gets underway as well.
Maybe the game is not shit anymore. I'm sorry. I had to do one Heidegger. I had to do one Heidegger video.
Yeah, he's not French. Was he Belgian? I always forget.
The game is less shit. It's less shitty for me to at least do one. So, love you, Heidi.
Well, that wraps up our updates for the competitive scene. And like, again, we always appreciate people bringing in the news, and we will definitely deliver it on the competitive scene because that, I think, is a big draw for us.
Indeed, indeed. All right. So that's everything out of the way. Let's get to the heart of the show. Update 10 was released as scheduled. Let's give them credit for that.
As scheduled, yes.
As scheduled, July 27th. And it broke, according to Steam charts, it broke the all-time peak player record of most players online at 13,865, which is, they didn't break it by much. I forgot exactly what the previous record was. I want to say it was in the 13,000s also. But that was only during free player weekends, and every previous peak player was during free players. So this was 13,000 paid players online checking how the game came back. It was actually kind of funny. Went through my Steam feed a little bit, and there were some guys I hadn't seen on the game in a while, and I knew that because suddenly they got achievements like win your first game as allies, kill someone, and I'm like, oh, they haven't played since the achievements were active.
That was a long time ago.
But
it brought a lot of people back, and that's for sure. I mean, I've been seeing a flourish of people coming into Discords, communities that you hadn't seen old friends in a long time playing Hell Let Loose. So it's really good to see. Hopefully it's fulfilling the boots that they were waiting for. The Russians were it. So I definitely think we've only got a week in. I'm thrilled from what I've seen thus far. I am just so lost, a dog without a bone on all the new maps, trying to figure out where should I be right now. I really think it's just the new players. It's still like a new player weekend in that sense. Be kind, be nice, give them the information to help them out because we were all there once. And I think like we could really see this be a great launch pad for all these new people coming in with the release and all that said. So really excited with the
you came across something that kind of like you enjoyed from a new player. Let's go ahead and flip over to that one here. So this was a meme you came up. When you play an FPS game and the game is fun, the people in voice chat are kind and competent. Maybe he hasn't played that long. Anyway, and the community is successful. What is this place? I thought that was a good find.
I think that's really great. And we caught this up on the Reddit posting just the other day. And I think, when you're seeing that is your general, your distribution on the forums, not in Steam, but in the Reddit page, it's pretty nice to see that it's getting positive traction from a lot of new people coming in. And really, that's who we want to retain is people that are like, whoa, this is actually a great community. And we want to keep those goodies nearby and close. So indeed. Props to that guy.
So let's go ahead. We've established a format here. With every new update comes out, we ask the same 4 questions. So you're gonna get 8 answers. That kind of stretch into longer, but 8 core answers we're gonna give to you. So the 4 questions are: what is the biggest change to the metagame? What is the biggest change at the individual player level, either positive or negative? What's the biggest change that you may not have noticed yet, but you probably should notice going forward? And then what's the change that left Digi and myself just most confused? Digi, I'm going to let you kick it off here. So biggest change to the metagame, what's your take?
As a result of the new update, I'd have to say that's that 3-minute warm-up period. Love it or leave it. I love it. I think it's going to give a greater sense to, my M.2 SSD was nice being the first loaded in and then jumped to the car and I'm already at the midpoint before half the people loaded. It's got to give a balanced game, and that's what was missing because of this period of flash, because it used to be everybody had to run in, and those were the old days. You know, the old people playing this game still know that, and you'd see the balance there. But now with the trucks, it's who can drive there fastest. So now you get the great invisible wall at 2 grid squares in that ties everything up for 3 minutes. And I think this is a really good opportunity to take full advantage of the transportation. You've got trucks at every HQ spawn. You got, really everybody can get up to that front line and be ready to go. As soon as that wall just dissipates, you're on a full attack force, and you've got a little bit of time to plan, brief, give the lowdown of your squad, get the command chat kind of rumbling through. Hey, here's kind of the game plan, and maybe you can sort out some squads to do some additional stuff, build nodes. Yeah, that's another one that we'll get into. Why don't you take us over to that? Well, what is your biggest change? Before
I was going to say, you were talking about like with your M2 drive. I really want to see a statistical study about the higher percentage a player is to, or more likely a player is to be a squad leader if he has an M2 and loads in first. Because I always feel like if you're the first one to load in, you almost feel like, well, I might as well be a squad lead as opposed to someone that's on a solid state. But no, I think that's good. Having all the transport trucks up there, having the communication, being able to move around, get in squads. I like it better than the offensive changes on our offensive warm-up period.
That's another I think show there on offensive mode. There's we can go into further.
No, I'll let you know. We're just gonna go ahead and talk. None of our show notes, none of our conversation talked about any offensive changes. We are warfare mentality type of.
That's our traditional sense of how we play our game. We're always looking for the warfare. I think our server, Esprit core server, set up for mostly warfare plus Omaha. So we got Omaha.
Gotta get Omaha.
Yeah.
So
gotta get Omaha in there.
For my take, and it's the background. He said at the beginning, swimming in resources. Scrooge McDuck. Let's get him back behind there. There he is. Like the 30 of each resource per minute ambient gain is ridiculous. And it's so I'm going to point this out though, because I want to we didn't hear anything in this week about things that they're going to fix. They're going to do most like update 8, update 9. They were very vocal about hot fixes. We heard nothing this week about hot fixes. So I'm going to put this out as a caveat. In the patch notes, they said it should be 10 per minute. Now, is that 10 per HQ per resource? Therefore, it's 30, or is it literally should be a flat 10 across the way? So this might be something that's going to be fixed. But for right now, you are freaking swinging in resources as a commander.
You're flying with the artillery. There's no stopping to the artillery guns at this point. You can get all 3 going the whole game.
Our artillery shells did not get increased. Now, a lot of commander abilities did get increased. But one of the biggest things, if you have not seen what they did with Encourage was something that you just only touched if you had Final Stand, like not even worth clicking the button. Boom, boom. Now, Final Stand plus Encourage doubles your ambient resource gain for 5 minutes. So, and you could use that every 5 minutes for free with Final Stand. Sync up those, so you just generate resources on resources on resources. There was one game on Stalingrad, I think I had like 3,000 resources at the end of the game, full 90-minute match. It was ridiculous. I will say we did do a competitive match yesterday. Shout out to BR1 and The Line, meeting us on Kursk.
Great game, guys.
Yep. Them German, us Russian, and the resources. There was a few times where I thought maybe like we dropped below a couple hundred. Maybe I didn't use an ability off cooldown, but for the most part, every ability was used off cooldown. And there was no constraint by the resources here. So I don't know. I mean, as I say, the resources.
What's your thoughts? I mean, it used to be, let's go back an update and how update 9 really influenced the steamroll of no resources. And you are going to dig yourself out of a deeper hole.
Or go back to update 8, when you can only put resources in friendly territory. Like, to me, the resources in this game has just been a band-aid fix on a band-aid fix. Exactly. Like it's
you don't know where it stands. And I'm good. I mean, in case in point, the game was going to have these abilities. And I think a lot of games you weren't able to use the abilities because you just didn't have the resource. And then it's like, oh, why have the bother with the abilities, right? So I think this covers all bases as it currently stands. You're able to use, if you got a competent commander, now it really puts big onus on commanders skill level to know when to time those things correctly, because again, the experience is there to continue to use it, but are you hitting your encouraged with your final stand? Are you dropping the Katusha strikes as soon as you can, you know, and in areas that need it? Oh God, that's scary. See those rockets coming in, and you're like, yeah.
Have you tried to dodge them yet?
Have you tried to dodge one? It was like a foot past my face, and I was like, Jesus Christ! And then I blew up like 2 seconds later from another one. You know?
I think where we're at right now is competent commanders are going to be swimming in resources. And incompetent commanders that don't understand final stand, encourage resource conversions, using the abilities during final stand are going to be, it's going to be a feast or famine, depending on the team. I'm okay with skill and knowledge having an advantage over a basic player. I'm not sure it's tweaked enough for kind of my liking right now. I did like the idea of you could build resource nodes in red space. There was some tactical and strategic thought about putting resource nodes that is now removed. With that said, what you talked, Digi, about the dependent on the team to provide them to the commander, remove the steamroll. I think that's gone. And while I may not have liked the simplicity of what the resource is now, I think that does make up for the disadvantage of steamrolls. I don't know if I've actually seen too many 5-0s in the public matches that we've been playing.
No, in fact, most public matches, I've been playing a lot longer games as an outcome. I mean, you're not seeing no more tanks after you've pushed them all the way back to their final point, and it's like, oh, okay, it's just a waiting game, 5-10 minutes, and it's over, right? And now you can see those go on for considerably longer. I've seen some comebacks from the last point. Good offensive pushes because you got tanks, you've got this and that. You can drop an airhead on your final point, more likely than not, and could dig yourself out of holes. I think it really gives flexibility to the strategically minded commander to change a game because maybe you didn't have the best break and you got unfortunate that nobody was on defense on your second to last point and they're all like still trying to push the enemy's second last point. And it happens, right? We all had those games where you're like, oh, that shouldn't have happened, but that one sneaky recon squad got lucky, and it happened. I've solo cap points before. It's a doable thing. So now it's kind of in the reflex that, okay, we're not out of it, we're not down, we're not out. We can work ourselves out of this, and really give some tactical advantage to a competent commander to do so. So Agreed. I like it.
Agreed. So that's question number one. Digi, go ahead and kick us off. What's
number two? And this is always like this at the individual layer. What is the biggest change? Well, it's a layer level player, you know. Positive or negative? Or negative?
How much coffee versus Spike is in that Spike coffee?
I don't know. I just got handed it this morning, so it's like, thank you. I'll take it. Thanks.
All right. So, like, for me, I think the biggest individual level player, and we're going to talk about this on the next episode, our tanking episode, but it does have to come down to tanks, and it's besides the mechanics and the hitboxes, driving is a point of frustration. I jumped in it myself. I got into a commanding role. Actually, I see Walking in the chat right now. Walking and I jumped into a tank, and it definitely feels different. It runs different. I would say there's a complexity that is added to it. The question, I think, for a lot of people when they're trying to get to, is it a complexity that requires me to have a learning curve, or is it a complexity that adds undue frustration and burden? I've seen posts go both ways. Some tankers that I respect and trust, I've asked them. We're going to be talking more about that on the next episode. But what did come out of it, and this might kind of go back to meta, but I really think it's still at the tactical level, is solo tanking is all but freaking gone. You are going to be at such a disadvantage. 2-man tanking, I think, is going to be still doable if you already have the tank advantage. But opening 3-man tanks, man, you got to be rolling those 3-man tanks.
3-man tanks, because it's all about changing seat times have been altered. I mean, you're not going to be able to go boop boop as you used to, and you're just doing a team disservice to play solo tanking anymore. Try and do a pair up. We had in our last match, some of the Goth fellas that were running tank. I think it was Jables, and I can't remember the other fella's name. Posted up a great Sneaky, and they were doing a sneaky play on a Tiger tank, and they were running 2-man tank, but they had the drop on this Tiger, and I really think that was like to the advantage. You really need 3-man to do it, because otherwise it's too fast paced. You really need to be able to shoot when you got to shoot.
So yeah, that's where I've seen like the biggest at the tactical level. I think the armor changes were significant. They did have an impact for that. AT classes changes. The whole armor AT play really was kind of the biggest one for me.
Yeah.
How about yourself, Digi?
I think for the biggest change at that player level for me was enemies are now marked by recon plane and vehicle to the support role. And this puts into the question, from my mind, is support role's always kind of been the number 2 in the squad, let's be honest, because I think it almost makes it like an NCO position, because now they can see the enemy, the squad leader can see the enemy. You almost can like do the branching and have like, hey, visual, there's communication, another layer of communication that the support player could take over if the squad lead's dead, and he's like, hey, the recon just went over, guys. You got this guy, this guy, and you can have more squad tactical approaches to things, because the it just got that much more dispersed. I mean, 2 people knowing pinpoint precision of where things are is better than 1 person trying to communicate it out. Now you can almost have like a branching effect in squad play. I thought it was really exciting to see that, and it blew my mind when I first saw that. I was like, wait, hold on, why am I seeing these red dots? And then I jumped into another role and I was like, where do they go? So yes, I think that was the biggest change to the individual player, in my opinion, because I think it's just more information readily available at the squad level, and down to the support role being just as important as the squad leader at the squad tactic. Idea.
I love your take of it as it's an NCO position now. I think that if nothing else,
it's important now. It's always been important, but people always discredit it because nobody wants to play it. I'd play it now because you still get some pretty good weapons as support. In German, you get the MP40. Like, now exactly where the enemy are. Wouldn't want to play it. Come on.
Anything we could do to incentivize more support players, the better. I think that's a great change. That really doesn't kind of shift too much, because I remember at one point they were like, I think, testing to see if all players could see the recon, which to me would diminish a little bit of that importance on the squad leader, chain of command, communication aspect that many of us strive for in this game, and many public players don't get. So I think this is a good way to maybe reach kind of more that middle point, incentivize support players, get more people to possibly use communications. Even if the squad leader's not communicating in public much, somebody can backseat squad lead. Like an NCO is like, you're done, Lieutenant, you're out.
I mean, I was thinking of more like a proximity chat of like, okay, you gotta take that left hedge, and hey, support player, can you go over and take this guy with you, and take that other flank out, and then you can have that better information and kind of work with that. Or maybe the support player's got to run out the supplies to go build the AT gun, and then you're like, oh, hey, by the way, the tank is right there. I think it was really a dynamic approach to it, and I was happy to see it.
Yep. All right, so Digi, let's get into question number 3 here. Biggest change you may not have noticed, but should. I'll say that this one is doesn't hit as hard as it has on previous updates. What we did, Update 8, Update 9 that we've been running this show. And one reason why it doesn't hit as hard, let me give credit to the developers, the amount of PTEs that they did.
Change logs, it's just fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of insight about the upcoming changes, although be it there were some changes we didn't quite expect. So let's kind of dive into those right now. Digi, what was your biggest change that people should be aware of, but they haven't yet?
So aware, and that carries over with my first one. I think that 3-minute timer is great. Well, now you got 3 transport trucks at the base HQ to jump on in. Commander can spawn more. You've got all this time in the world to get to these transport trucks. It's really getting emphasized. The transport truck is the way of the future to get into the point. And we'll go, like, again, we brought it up in the past, opening those 2 other lanes on the column side, but I think off the hop, everybody should be getting a transport. If their supply truck should be for those squad leads to go build up those forward garrisons, but there's no reason to wait out a spawn at this time in the game. Like I remember when everybody would just be like, oh, I'll just wait for you to, go do your thing. And that's how I, played most of the time. Like if I was commander, if I was squad leader, I'd grab that supply truck as first with my M.2 and get there at the line and wait. And I'd be like, and hey guys in squad, just wait, I'll get it. Don't worry. Like, but that is not a sensible thing anymore, is when you can have all forces up at that line ready to engage. Some might blow up to the light tank, some will get through. I think it's just more dynamic and a really change that I don't think most people notice. And the other consensus with that, you get 3 minutes, so you also got your ability to build nodes in the HQ spawn. So you have 3 minutes, you can almost build all the nodes.
Do not waste your time. Yeah,
don't waste your time. Just build them all in that base HQ because they're all worth the same.
Well, it's funny you mention that. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this up here. This is actually a clip from yesterday's match, which I think now kind of leads to, you're going to get some more of these cinematic moments. This is the first time for us. We are here and with multiple transport trucks. You can see it. And we got like a little convoy happening. You can hear it on the voice. But I look back around, we're in the lead truck. There's 3 transport trucks, a support truck, and a recon vehicle going right there as we're all riding the battle up there in Yamkey on Kursk. So one more time here on the loop. I love it. And it kind of brings back some of that community feel that we talked about, we've lost before. Now everybody's riding the trucks. We're riding up there. Hey,
look who's driving.
Yeah.
I just realized, I was lead truck on that convoy. I was so nervous. Because I haven't played this game or this map much. So I was like, oh fuck, don't hit a trench. I was so nervous that I was gonna fuck that first vehicle.
Yeah, and they don't get stuck on the bridge and just like.
It was so funny because like it was like I got in the back seat and then like for 2 minutes people were like, or for the first minute people were like getting in that driver's seat and then getting out of it. Like, I'm not driving. I'm not gonna drive.
Those ghosts.
Everybody kept getting out of that. I was like, all right, fine. I guess I'll take it. And then.
Yeah. So no,
I remember how funny that was.
I think this is. I do like all the changes at the beginning. I'll have to say that. I like how it's not just, hey, if your team didn't get in the supply truck and race to the beginning, you didn't have a garrison, like you're screwed. You're going to lose the midpoint.
Or your supply truck gets stuck, like Inchon drives it. But, I think it's really balanced.
All right, guys. Well, that wraps up episode 16 of Hell Let's Talk. We're shut down there. One time.
There's a dynamic approach to that is now you have multiple resources going off the base. You're not just waiting for that big spawn wave to come out of this one little tiny garrison. Love it. I love to see these kinds of changes because it makes it a more engaging battle across the spectrum. You got fronts on one side, fronts on another side, front in the middle. It's perfect. I think you can really 3 trucks, 1 right, 1 middle, 1 left. Yeah, easy. And you can get those pretty mostly full. I'll
put something else into there. We
competitive got much more nice. Like exactly. It got much nicer to play.
Now it's no longer like, oh, it's town outskirts. Well, now town outskirts has changed. So let's go to West Bend. West Bend. Oh, well, they got the transport truck up there. We got to have a disadvantage. It's taken some of that RNG away, and now with the 3-minute timer, you can have the commander can spawn a supply truck anywhere he wants to. Yeah, he can spawn an additional transport. He can spawn an additional recon. So I think it definitely added a lot more tactical sense in the beginning. Are we going to see that always translate into public play? Probably not. Competitive scene, I think you're going to see min-maxing a lot of that opening 3 minutes that will have a determination for the rest of the game. So I think that's good. For me, I would say I'm gonna actually break this down into two answers for what the biggest one is. So if you're looking at the servers up there, everybody's just playing Russian maps.
Oh my god, I'm getting tired though.
Yeah. So we actually switched over our server a little bit to do a little bit different. And what you probably haven't noticed because you haven't taken your head out of Stalingrad or Kursk is that there's been a lot of performance increase by the many people are saying, not all, granted, not all, but a lot of people are saying they're seeing performance increase on previous maps. Some of the grass and reduction has been done. The lawnmowers let loose have come out. Yeah. I think, take some time. Go take some time, check it out. Look at your FPS on those previous maps. And check it out on that one. So I'm happy to hear some of that optimization coming into effect, albeit I think if everybody's seen the lag and stutters on Stalingrad, it's kind of fallen on deaf ears until they've seen other maps. Yeah. But the biggest, I think, things that people haven't noticed, because maybe they just haven't been in the command seat, is now we're actually getting on the Eastern fronts that asymmetrical warfare from the two points specifically calling out for the Russians. The Katyusha rocket strikes have replaced the bombing runs that we see from the American and Germans. They now have a wider area effect instead of more devastating linear effect, and they're also on a 5-minute cooldown versus a 10-minute cooldown. So is that an advantage? Is that a disadvantage? You know, it's going to be up to the commander, but it does provide this asymmetrical warfare happening there. The other point, German armor is, from all intents and purposes, I think better than Russian armor. The guys I talked to, we're going to have our armor discussion next week. But I think the developers acknowledge that Russian maps now start with 2 medium tanks at the headquarters versus 1 medium tank for the German. So there's some asymmetrical balance that we're noticing there that I don't know if everybody's kind of flushed out. I will say one thing that I think a lot of people was like, we talked about in the last show, the OP rage about the shine. I venture for you to actually go out and say how much you've noticed that in game. I've come against like I just haven't seen it. Like I know it's there.
If you'll probably hear it before you see it, and I mean, I love listening to the dialogue. The hot dog 7. This is artillery marker. You know, it's on a loop.
Willie P.
I get a chuckle every time I hear hot dog 7 now as I go past the Allied OPs and garrisons. So,
I get hungry.
Yeah. Of course you do.
I need a hot dog.
I need a hot dog. I didn't think of it as a great change at the beginning, but now that I played with it, it's not that bad. It's not like a beacon, right? I'm not really like, oh, okay, there it is 200 meters away. You're going to know before it happens. And I'm still getting stuff through hedges. I'm not really like, I don't think it's that defining.
If I remember correctly, and once again, the internet will correct me if I'm wrong because the internet's great like that. I think it's 30 meter distance. You'll see the visual indicator of the shine, and it's 20 meter audio distance. With that said, there's been maps where I'm just like, oh, there's an enemy OP over there or garrison. No shine, no shine, no shine. And by the time I'm looking left, right, trying to do all that stuff, I haven't noticed the shine as much as it broke Reddit.
Same play, you know. For me, it's like, oh, where's everybody coming from? Oh, that direction. Okay, there must be a spawn there. You know, like that has not changed for me one slightest bit, because I'm like, okay, so they're coming from this one house. I just saw 5 of them, probably OP. Oh shit, 20 just came from there. It's probably a garrison. By that one house, it's probably right behind it.
The amount of outrage from that was just like, that's
triggered.
It was so triggered.
Too much.
Black Matter is just going to console players. This is it. It's too arcadey. Blah blah. I have to now remind myself to look for the shine. It's just been so kind of background noise to me, which is kind of outside of the actual background noise to the OP. But that's for me the biggest things that I would say that.
And I think the rocket strikes is be it the 5-minute mark. I think the dispersion of them is still pretty wide. You know what you're gonna get with a bombing run. Absolutely death through the line. Katyusha is a little bit randomized, so like I said, you can dodge, but you know you might get the next one, or you might make it out okay to get into a building in time. So you can see them coming more so than the bombing, because most people don't look for planes. Let's be honest, like. We do, but I think in general sense, nobody's looking up at the sky like, oh, that's a bombing plane, or oh, that's a supply plane, or it's a scout plane. I think once the bombs hit, you're like, oh, panic sets in, and you only got like such and such time to get to a house. And the Katyusha, you can really see them coming in from a long ways away and hear them.
Well, I was gonna say the audio cue for the Katyushas is like pretty loud to where you hear that. It's a horrible version of it. But anyway, you can actually see it, and then you're like, oh shit, it's coming, and then you actually start to see those. And then you start to see those white trails, and you're like, oh, we gotta get out of here. So I love those high adrenaline moments. So that even after I'm at 1,500 hours, they're able to give a high adrenaline moment. I love it.
Exactly. All
right, so
let's move on to. Let's go on to the final question of the show. We've number 4 here. The change that left us most confused. Should clarify, this isn't something that is viewed as an unintended consequence, such as not being able to shoot through windows or possible bugs like walls not behaving correctly, like not glitches or game defects. It's just like the change that they put in purpose. Why is it confusing, and why would they do it? What do you got for us, Inchon?
For me, I'm gonna take back on there. They said they wanted to stress the heavy tanks, and like you would be rare to see a heavy tank in battle, and it would be a moment that you would remember in that match. It hasn't materialized. Like so this is more for me a confusion of you stated this, you had it on there, and it just didn't go in effect. There was no cooldown impacts. Now, granted, the resource change, if it really isn't supposed to be 30 per minute as an ambient gain, it's supposed to be 10. Maybe this will adjust. So I don't want to say die on this hill on this fight, but it just like I was looking after seeing it, I was like, I could use this tank on every single cooldown. It's still on a 10-minute cooldown. We're still putting the same amount of heavy tanks out there.
Yeah,
you know, who has
what is it? 400 resources now for heavy tank spawn?
Well, yeah, it's 400 resources or final stand and for free.
Yeah,
you know? and manpower is ridiculous now. Check it out. When you guys are in your matches, about 90 minutes, hit the M mark. Well, don't do it at 90 minutes. At 89 minutes, hit your map. Check to the top, and you're going to have manpower. If your confidence, your commander's
from
confident.
most limited to most abundant in one update. That's crazy.
Yeah, so if you're looking at this, you know, let's say your average heavy tank spawn is now 200 fuel because you're getting one at the 10-minute mark for free, and the one at the 5-minute mark for 400 averages out to 200. You're generating, you know, I don't want to go all the math anyway. Your resources are not the constraint at that point. Your cooldown is a constraint. Nothing touched it. I'm still seeing the same amount of heavies out there. It didn't do anything for me.
Let me ask you this question: do you think there's a need for Final Stand anymore?
Whew. You know what? Final Stand is such a critical element of a commander now.
I use it, you use it, but I mean, is it necessary anymore?
I could see without Final Stand how that completely shifts the dynamic of commander choices. I don't know if it would be necessary, but I don't want it to be gone because I feel it's like that. It's that knowledge base that if you know how these things work together, you should have an advantage over somebody that just randomly spams buttons.
That's me.
So I like it as a skill check. Let me say it like that. I like it as a skill and a knowledge check. But if they took it out, well, first off, not a lot of people play Commander, so not a lot of people would complain. I don't know if it's necessary, but I don't want it to be gone.
Does it become more of a balancing thing? Because I think, like, a competent commander is one using it, and we see a lot of people that use it, but then they don't do anything after the fact. It's like, what did you just do that for? So what if you were to remove it? Would that almost balance the game out for like that skill competency? Like it's just people hitting the buttons, right?
Yeah,
and you can still coordinate your tanks with your, strategic sense, but you don't have that free candy button, right? That's gone now. Everybody is kind of like, oh, you don't have to like
already fire all your rounds. Go at the cyclic rate.
Yeah,
they're all
you don't
free.
have to be as efficient anymore, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna do a save round here because I actually have one thing that as a commander. So all three people that watch this show as a commander, that main commander, notice
Am
that
I
actually,
one of those?
No, you don't watch the show. You're on the show.
Okay.
No, but notice, and maybe you haven't noticed this yet, Digi, for our subsect of commanders. The icon to the left of your order, that's just like the final stand. It now actually has a cooldown clock inside of it. So final stand lasts for 1 minute. So you can actually see how much of your 1 minute you have left standing on there. I think that's a great UI interface. You're encouraged. It's, for 5 minutes, you'll actually see it click around for 5 minutes. So you know if, I still have it active or not active. Reinforce clicks around. I thought that was a great change. So.
Yeah, that is a nice UI update for sure. For sure.
Yeah. So the heavy armor, that's the answer for mine for it. I'm just confused about what they said and what was implemented here with the heavy armor.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of going up against tanks on Kursk. This is like, oh boy, okay, they can see me from 700 meters away. Okay.
Yep.
No flanks.
How about
so
you,
my component for what left me most confused, I only got into it maybe like a couple games, was artillery. We knew in the change logs, I didn't get a chance to play artillery in PTE, so maybe it would have been noticed there. But what left me kind of confused was why they slowed down some of the pacing on the mills. to go up in elevation and down in elevation, and then the turning speed seems a little reduced. So the artillery took like a little bit of a hidden buff or a nerf. Maybe it was aware, and I'm just like getting filled in now, but that was kind of left me confused. I know dispersion was going to be coming with the update. I just wasn't expecting like the overall turning and, you know, sight change was going to get nerfed down in speed as well. So it's comfortable, and I like the sounds they put for it too. They have new sounds for the artillery guns, and the reloading. And because if you're running and you're still like one man tanking, but one man artillery pieces, I don't think will ever change. Flipping from seat to seat, you know, if you're going into do the reload, it feels like it's like a half second, 2 seconds slower to hit the R button for the tank, the round to go in. So it feels like it's actually slower paced all around, as well as that dispersion effect. So artillery took a little bit of a change, and it's kind of like, okay.
Well, I mean, and Russian artillery,
maybe it was too dominant.
I don't know. Yeah, Russian artillery now has a different mill distance. It still goes the same range. But now if you're using a traditional artillery calculator that has not been updated for Russian mills, go out and find it. You're gonna be killing teammates. That's you do. And so I'm not understanding, why do they make Russians different than why did they make that interference with Russian artillery different, but yet not provide any actual mechanical difference? It's not like Russian artillery shoots like 50 meters longer.
Yeah, I mean, the German metric versus the Imperial American artillery, and they were the same. So I don't know. That's a weird change for sure.
It's just confusing. Yeah. So take heed of this. Go make sure you have an updated artillery calculator if you're on Russian.
Exactly. So, and if you have the know-how and programming skill too, make sure you're building the artillery updates in.
Indeed. So, I mean, overall, Digi, I mean, we kind of talked about this. I don't think we can really kind of put a pin in and say update 10, successful, not successful.
Only a weekend. No, we got more time and more planning to be done before we can give a good consensus in. But I think we got good coverage for what we've seen. We've already got our first competitive match within our new Discord community, Esprit Decor. We had a really good turnout, and again, thank you BR1, The Line, KRT, and our good boys from Goff to jump in with us on that one. A lot of fun.
Off update 10, right?
Exactly, with a good competitive match. So it got the juices going again. So I think it's only tits up, as they say, from here. And I really can't wait to see what comes down the pipeline. And like I said,
who says that?
I just did.
No, I think if I understand that, yes, I agree.
No, so in the same sense, like, I think it's all going in the right direction, and can't wait to see what comes out.
I really want to hear more about the developers, what this hot patches, hot fixes coming in. They got to be planning to come on with some of them. I think as far as determining maps, effective, not effective, we got to play some more time on them. They're definitely different. You definitely know you're on the Eastern Front. I will give a little jab. Why did you guys close off Bearcourt Manor on Sainte Marie Dumont? I know that it's got like a little sign that says like being fumigated or something. Like, that was such a great point to fight in.
I love that. That manor was fun.
Please open that. Has to be on the hot patch to open that back up. But other than that, like I said, we're gonna see. So let's go ahead and wrap up the episode here. Digi, any final comments from the show? Path forward.
Like I said, it's exciting to get back into things. Really glad to be back on the show and get this underway. Really excited to have a good chat with my buddy and talk and bullshit. You know how it is. So Indeed. Really good. Thanks for watching the stream, guys. I really appreciate all the turnout we get from the community. And as always, starting with that community guide when we first brought into the show, like I think it really speaks volumes. The community is what supports us, and it's what we're happy to do it for. So thanks, guys. Cheers to you. See you on the battlefield.
And I can't say any better than Digi. So take care.
Tits up.